Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft bringing you a little bit of a treat. What the hell's going on here? Between a new friend of mine, Gonzy, versus Blup. That's how I'm going to pronounce his name from now on. Because he's talking about some motivational music that he's got going on right now. I'm picturing a little final countdown rocking in the background here as you ladder. I think it's the way it's supposed to be. We have Blup as the Terran player in the bottom right. This is a bit longer of a game, so I'll speed it up slightly at the beginning here. Now, Gonzy was kind enough to send me his replays. He is a Diamond League player he sent me a few of his replays, actually doing pretty darn good, and I thought this would be a good opportunity to look at some of the games for people kind of in the middle level of StarCraft. The stuff you see from me is kind of at the bottom level of StarCraft, and obviously the professional stuff is at the top level of StarCraft. So I generally don't offer you stuff kind of right in the middle. And so we get the opportunity to see people like Gonzy and Blup play in the game. We can see a little bit of a difference between what makes a beginner and an adequate player. Ooh. Get that there, SCV. Oh, I was actually going to repair it up. That's pretty cool. What's the difference between somebody who's beginner and somebody who's intermediate? What is the bug? Go, SCV. I'm not sure, but we're going to keep going along with it anyways. And the difference between somebody that's kind of a middle level player and somebody who's a professional level player. Almost gets that SCV. That'd have been a pretty nice little pull there. Obviously, when you get your unit trapped inside of the base, you might as well make the most of it. If my replays start bugging up a little bit while I'm speeding it up, it's because my computer is a sack of crap, and therefore likes behaving like a sack of crap. Do have the SCV, sees everything that's going on. We didn't have a stalker or anything put out early for the Protoss player. Just now, it's getting in production. Instead, wants to get out that fast mothership core, which is still a really important thing to have because it'll ward away any type of really cheeky early marine pressure, as they both go for pretty standard expansions here. Both the gas getting taken at the same time on this side. I like it. You can use that no gas opening to be able to get up your economy a little bit faster, and then get out the production, obviously. One stalker just going to go poke at the front a little bit. This base is now finished. If we look at the economy-wise, tied up, but with some chrono boost, I'm expecting to see Gonzy take a little bit of a lead here as time goes on. Fast stim pack, worth getting out really soon. Bunker at the front, should be okay. Doesn't appear from the tech choices we see coming out of the Protoss player there'll be a really early pressure. This Robo Bay, I expect to just see some observers pop out. If we see some Immortals coming down, then maybe we might have some sort of 2-base pressure. See some gateways come down afterwards. On this side, we see the Terran players really moving up into production nicely. We don't have any extra production coming out of our Protoss player at all. We're starting to bank up a fair bit of money here, so I'd expect to see a fast third or a bunch of gateways fly down to be able to compensate for that kind of bank he's growing. No, it's actually going to be one gate Colossus. Nope, there's the other gateways. That is an interesting little mesh of tech. No upgrades, obviously, on this side. We have the first engineering bay going down for our Terran player over here. So we should be able to get into upgrades earlier than our Protoss, a friend. 3-gate Robo is actually going to be getting out a Warp Prism. I do like the early Warp Prism, but you do need those gateways up and going if you're really going to make use of that so you can warp in enough units to make sense. One stalker just kind of being a cockface down here, poking around a little bit and backing out. Lots of Marines on the way. Keeping head on his supply for the most part. He's got 2 depots about to finish, so he won't be supply blocked for very long. Got a pretty good lead over top of Gonzy. And at this point, you would be able to see Terrans take an army like this with stim pack, maybe a couple of medevacs, and really go and just shut Protoss players down. When you have that, nexus cannon, it can just shut down so many things. We are seeing a lot of saved up chrono boost here from the Protoss player, so I've got to assume that he wants to go for some sort of crazier pressure with this Warp Prism when it comes out. Where'd it go? Oh, it's not even moved across there yet. Or he's got to really focus. There he goes, using that a little bit better. I love having the chrono boost when I'm playing as a Protoss player, and I always use it on all these buildings. You just hotkey up your nexuses Keep them both together. He's got them as number 1. I generally keep them a bit further down, so I can get my army on nice hotkeys. Actually doesn't have an army at all on the hotkeys. And then I just go by like chrono boost all of my tech structures, chrono boost out probes, and I keep that chrono boost spent at all times. Pretty good chunk of marines here, without any medevac support, and with the nexus cannon. I think that the Protoss shouldn't have too much trouble dealing with this. The first Colossus is on the way, though I don't think thermal lance. Yeah, it hasn't even been started yet. So this puts the Protoss player at a bit of a disadvantage now that the medevacs are with this army. We'll see if he can get some damage done. This would be a perfect army to shut down a 3rd base. Happily, Gonzy's not gone for that. Ooh, this is great timing on this side. Those... I'm going to back up for a second. We're going to watch that, because this was a little bit more important here. Alright, so drops the sentries, has the zealots coming in, and a very, very fast pull on the SCVs. Back in the old school days, you used to go for sentry drops, and you would block in all of the Terran SCVs, the Protoss probes or drones. You'd keep them in this little box, and then you would just destroy them. But we see in this case a very fast pull from the Terran player. But now that these are all coming back, what would have been really good is for him to drop a couple more force fields and maybe block all of these in some place they can't be effective. They're not mining right now, which is great. He does kill off a reactor on the starport. It's always worthwhile. And he's actually getting a few kills here on the workers. He is going to save his sentries. He should back away here pretty quick. Yes, he does back away. Workers killed. I actually killed 12 workers out of that. That was a lot better than I thought it would be. But now it's bloop, it's time to see what he can get done. That's a bad timing on that probe. These stalkers get caught a little bit off guard. Very fast reaction on the nexus cannon there. A couple zealots get killed almost immediately. And this Colossus is out at just the nick of time. It is getting focused down, but he is managing to keep it alive just barely. Pretty good hold there by Gonzy, but we can see the bloop still has a pretty good lead. A 3rd command center finished. A little bit of army sitting around waiting in case that Warp Prism comes back again. He's already got his next upgrades on the way. We do have the forge down on this side for the Protoss, and the money to be able to spend on upgrades, and the hotkeys for the upgrades. Just hasn't been able to keep focused on some of these other important points. There we go. Now he's got himself back focused again. Double expand. I'm sure Gonzy feels very confident at this point. He did a bunch of damage to the worker line. He shut down that attack with minimal damage to his economy. So you can generally feel pretty confident at this point that you're ahead and that you can feel safe. But the kind of macro the bloop is showing us here is actually pretty phenomenal, even on just a handful of racks. Just getting that constant production. Oop. Doesn't quite get around the other side of that. More barracks, more production. I don't mind doing this. The supply depots, this base is a little bit better on this map because you have the opportunity to really knock off against the side. Same thing with this. There's not that ability to run around as easily if you're smart about it. If we look at the vision of the Terran player, he doesn't know anything about the expansions, and he's going to get himself a 3rd base. But at this point, you can generally feel pretty secure that there's going to be that expansion. Don't mind the production facilities going outside the base. I mean, they fit better inside so that you don't get cluttered up on them with, you know, other units. Protoss, particularly when it comes to your zealots, you really want to be able to get them on top of the army. So I don't think there's too much the Protoss can do about this army just now. It does have the double Colossus out. The thermal lance isn't finished yet, though. That's a pretty good chunk of bio, and it does have 1-1 finished. Whereas our Protoss player still has 1-1 not quite done yet. Good little snipe on the nexus. Force fields leave a little bit to be desired. But he actually managed to kill off quite a bit of units there. Loses the nexus and this one happens. And it's like, well, you know what? You can always lose one nexus. So I'm going to make 2 extra nexuses. And who knows? Maybe one of them's going to live. And it happens to be the case. And it's not likely that that's going to happen in most games you play. Drops the Mule Hammer. Now this is where you've got to see these players really amp up the production facilities. We've got 5 racks and 1 starport on this side. That army probably doesn't need to be there anymore. What I would like to see from the Terran player is a couple more racks going down. Maybe even another starport. A supply depot wall up here at the front because he's not that far being supply blocked again. If we look at the Protoss player, pretty good sized army. 1-1. What happened to his +1 attack? I thought he was researching +1 attack. But perhaps I am high. So it's a pretty good chunk of army there. He does have the supply lead. Thermal Lance is done. Double Colossus. There are a couple of Vikings out here, but there's really not that many for 3 Colossus. But it's scaring away most of the Colossus right now. There's not really enough Vikings to really worry about. And he's letting most of his army die while his Colossus sit back here. So his meat shield just got run through. Good thing he's got those force fields, so he'd probably actually be in a bit worse of a position. Good warping. I actually probably have been a bigger fan of warping in a bunch more zealots just to be able to tank the damage against these units. Charge is finished, so we'll close down the distance really fast. These stalkers do have the +1, but right now, unfortunately, this high DPS army here, 2-2 about to finish, is going to be just a little bit too powerful, I think. Double starport, I think it's worthwhile. It's not like he's going to be making 6 Vikings at a time, but having that production open to you is always good to have. Good little snipe on the Vikings. The position right now for the Protoss is pretty good, I would think. But unfortunately, his attacks are getting split up here. Some of his armies attacking some way, some of his armies attacking the other. Force fields are pretty decent. Terran's trying to run around, which necessarily isn't wise. They're really funneling up on top of this thermal lance here, and it's getting carved through so fast. Looks like there's just enough here to kind of march through this, though, maybe. He is focusing down there 1 Colossus. Looks like he will get it with those 2 Vikings that are finished there. This is interesting. That's kind of crazy. I didn't really expect that the Terran would be able to come through that as good as he did. And look at the supply difference there. Bloop! Is all of a sudden back in the lead. If we look at the workers kill tab, 28 workers killed this game so far for Gonzy. That's nothing to laugh about, you know, it's pretty decent. Another Nexus again. This one's somewhat saturated up again. No defenses or anything over here. There hasn't been any drops from the Terran player, so it's not like you really have to worry about putting some cannons down. If you've got just bank laying around, sometimes I think it's worthwhile, because if you do take a lead, that's generally how Terran are going to get back into it. But so far, the only thing we've seen from Blup is his desire to really build up big ball armies, kind of like a Protoss would, and then go stomping. Still Colossus production on this side. Do we only have 1 robo facility right now? Yeah, just the 1 robo facility. You do have Chrono Boost to move things faster. It's been using a fair bit of it. That one hasn't been used, though. That one's still Chrono Boosting out some probes. Storm on the way and Templars. Just a really good all-around. I love this. It's so cheeky when you can do that as a Protoss player. I do it all the time on this map. Couple of observers at the front, you know everything that's going on. Like Sensor Tower, I think it's a very underused building. I'd like to see a lot more people incorporating that into their games, particularly as they get into the mid and late game when those kind of zealot run-bys can really just set you back. So, should see a bit of a transfer of workers here in the next little bit. That's a little oversaturated and almost dead. This economy, this will be done here in the next minute and a half. Fresh. Terran player, how much time has he got left on this? About a minute. Less than a minute, and this one's actually already had quite a bit of mining done on it, just a couple of minutes left. So the Terran player is going to have to look at his next expansions here pretty soon. He's got a pretty good sized army. His upgrades are still moving along. He's going on to 3-3. We already have +3 armor about to finish on this side. Wow, all armor. No weapons at all from our Protoss player. Very strange choice in that matter. I mean, it's good against this kind of bio army because the DPS of... Oh, nice storms. Eat poop. Eat poop. I mean, the Colossus are going to get totally worked over. But that was a pretty good engagement there for Gonzy. But he does need to kind of fall back and regroup. He lost his big damage dealers in that piece. If the Terran regroups and comes back with another biopack, he actually wouldn't be able to hold off against it. And I don't even know if Colossus are that important anymore. I think going into the Storm and High Templar would be fine. But we already have Ghosts in production. Lots of Ghosts in production right now after that Storm happened. So pretty solid play out of both these players right now. Just trying to think of what difference we could have, and that was going to be it. Now, the Protoss player does see this. I did see him select that other dealy deal. Looks like he originally wanted to go and drop at this base. The trick is, and this is kind of like poker, when you know you're about to win, how do you get somebody to really dump their effort into it? Because what you wanted to be able to do is have the real opportunity to snipe down all those medevacs, but oh well. This Warp Prism's just kind of hanging out. So though the supplies are the same, I'd like to think there's a bit of an advantage with the Protoss player. Lots and lots of High Templars, but this is the same way I play Protoss, where I just have them all clumped up in one big bundle. Scan and drop. Looks like this is going to get a little bit of damage in here. Pretty fast pull on this side, but this is a 3-3, well, almost 3-3 bio army. So we'll probably be able to get down this Nexus pretty fast. And he is going to get it too. That's a pretty nice snipe. Well worth risking a medevac or two on. I kind of like this. The standard play, oh, you hit me, I'm going to hit you back harder. Call that the elementary school playground effect. So, great scan. I guess he knows everything's going on. There is 11 Ghosts in here, and lots of EMPs ready to go. Pretty good feedbacks. Couple of really, really good EMPs there. No Storms left in this army, and only one Colossus. He cannot engage into this here without some sort of higher area of... Oh, it looks like he's going to push for it anyways. Did he get some Storms yet? Nope, just feedbacks. This guy have Storms? I think he's got 1 or 2 Storms in here max right now. Pretty bad choke up here for a lot of the Protoss units. 2 Colossus in here doing a pretty good job. There aren't any Vikings in this composition. All these High Templar essentially waste. At least make them into Archons or something for the greater good. Pretty big supply lead right now for the Terran player. I think he's going to be able to just grunt his way through this again. Unfortunately, having that lack of attack upgrades is really hurting him here a lot. Pretty good feedbacks on the Ghost. Doesn't get any kills on them though, unfortunately. With all the medevacs down here, he's not really killing too much stuff with Colossus. We should be seeing... What is that? Do we have something moving over there? Just mining for right now. We don't see a big red cube moving across the map just yet. Let's look at the income. Gonzy's down to 60 supply after that. Oh man. Does have quite a bit of workers in place, but this army size and advantage out of our Terran players immense. Double the supply. 1 base essentially right now for the Protoss player. I mean, it's really only 1 base for the Terran as well, but he is getting up to his 4th. Scanning just to see if there's expansions. Just see some skeletal remnants here and there. Just waiting for a little bit more action to happen here. Might have even been worth... Oh, whatever happened to his main... Oh, must have got... There's his main command center. I'm like, what the hell happened to that thing? Looks like it's going to fly over here. Feel like you might want to go for a little zealot drop. I think that's really what needs to happen right now for the Protoss player. Gonzy's down by a lot. It's just like a Terran player. When you're behind, turtle up a little bit, build up your army back to a good size, and find ways to just pick away at your opponent. Keep them off of you while this is happening. I think this is the smart way to do stuff. 1 Ghost in the bunker. No, why not? A lot of Vikings here, so you got to be very careful with that warp prism. Another base is going down. Pretty broke for Gonzy. I mean, he does have the storms at home, so that does give him at least a little bit of a defender's advantage. Looks like he's not going to go and find that. Was that not the right place to drop the command? Oh, yeah. Sometimes when you rally all of your command centers to a new mineral patch, what it also does is start moving your floating ones towards that mineral patch. But he figured it out fast enough. Used to hate when that happened as a Terran player. So, Army supply, control A, that's what I want. Well, we've got almost double the army supply right now, and he's making good use of it. Just backs away. Smart move, no reason not to do that. Don't have to do too much. The problem is that the Terran player still hasn't been able to do anything super decisive yet. Get snipe on that. I've yet to be able to just spot a hovering. Ooh. Looks like that might have been a pretty good storm there. Took 42 kills. What kind of kills did you get? Only one, actually. Pretty nice feedbacks on the medevacs. Did kill a couple of them. Bit of use of the psi energy right now. See, the problem is as a Terran players, you've got to find a way to keep doing damage to the Protoss because their army is just so powerful, and as it grows, it just kind of exponentially gets more powerful. So this really interesting Zealot and High Templar mix. Zealots, very mineral intensive. High Templar, obviously, very gas intensive. It's just a super combo you can use. Unless you hit some really, really amazing EMPs, you can just get obliterated by that army. Now, does he have his +3? He doesn't have his +3 attack yet done, but it's on +2, so he's not super far behind. A couple of SCVs repairing stuff in here. Probably doesn't need too much anyways, but he's got a pretty big bank, and he's not building anything right now. Actually, I actually was thinking about this the other day, because it happened to me a couple times in games. It's the Terran overconfidence piece. He was up by almost double the supply at one point, and it was like 120 to 60. Now it's 150 to 150, so he's grown 30 supply at the same time the other person's grown essentially 90. As a Terran player, sometimes you just get this feeling like, oh, I'm just invincible. I'm killing all of his bases, I've got bases all over the place, I'm doing so awesome, you guys will never touch me. But really, he's got this money to spend, he should be able to max out his army. If not, start building nukes and having fun and nuking stuff. That's what I do when I'm really far ahead. But you can't let yourself get lulled into this whole, oh, I'm a long ways ahead, I'll be fine. No production, zero production out of the Terran player. Did anybody else notice his hotkeys? Kind of interesting. Both of these players actually like having their hotkeys as their main structures on #1, and there's no army hotkeys for Gonzy. That's pretty crazy. That is very, very rare to see. Maybe he was a StarCraft 1 player. A StarCraft 1 players, you can only have, what, 16 items in a hotkey anyways? Let's see if we can get the good storms. Now, between a Protoss and a Terran at this level, it's really about who can get the best engagement. I'm surprised there's Vikings in production. I don't think there's many Colossus out, units-wise. No, there's no Colossus out, so I don't... Whoa. Whoa, EMPs. Those EMPs were so sick. Okay, I'm gonna see that again, actually. That was really cool. Well, he did lose almost all of his ghosts, but, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Any energy for these guys? No. Archon gets one shot off before running home. See, now this is a Terran player's when he should be like, I have the opportunity to go in and go for the kill. Go for a big drop, kill production. Go into the main and do some serious damage that's unrecoverable. And no, it's nice to play safe and do that whole, if you're ahead, just get further ahead. But you're giving your opponent that opportunity to just really come back into things. It's a nice little drop there. Ooh. Bye-bye. To the last man fight. Zealot's gonna try to run, and that one ghost still in his bunker. Pretty good micro to get down the workers over here, actually, between all this. A lot of times people will just give up and start just going after the bunker, as he's doing now. Actually, probably got those last two SCVs otherwise. So supply-wise, Bloop is taking a pretty big lead again. Gonzy is back down to trying to just make the most of whatever he's got left. Zealots, High Templars. Pretty sick little army, actually. But he's not in a great position to really deal with this army. And he does have the storms in the high grounds, but just not really in the right position to deal with that. So he's going to run the probes away. That was just a warning storm. That's one of those don't mess with me boys kind of storm. Protoss does see everything that's going on right here. Let's get most of the ghosts, but the ghosts get all the High Templar. So he's going to run away in a hurry. This is like stim and catch up. Chase those buggers down. That's so many zealots. That's just like the ultimate late game piece for Protoss players. It's just that giant zealot blob army. So income wise. Oh, there's actually some income for the Protoss. I thought this base had been almost mined out by now. Well, still got a couple minutes left. But the Terran player is obviously doing fine. Producing even more sensor towers around the front. Are these manor sensor towers? Where was that? Oh yeah, there it is. It's going to build it right out front of the base. Now the Protoss is an interesting spot. Just needs to get back the energy on the storms. Lots and lots of High Templar. And we see that his army, even though the Terran's maxed out, Protoss isn't a long ways off, and it's got some strong elements to this army. The thing is, like, you're a maxed Terran, you've got to find something to do. You got to go find something to kill. Like, go and just start killing some stuff. Just go over here and do some drops into the main. Like, just find something to do with this army. Protoss player sees everything that's going on. We actually got a pretty good sandwich positioned here. Not the best use of ghosts I've ever seen, but you know what? See, this is why I like having armies on hotkeys. So if this army was on, say, hotkey 1 and this army was hotkey 2, this could be a sandwich right now. I'm actually going to back that up into the perfect moment here. I'm going to back that up into the perfect moment where this whole game probably should be flipping. Let's slow it down a little bit here. So we have a big ball of army up here with storms. A big ball of army coming around. Now is where you've got to go for that attack from both sides. Great storm. Particularly if he's going to chase you. If he's going to chase you, you've got this army. Put it on a hotkey and use it to come after this army from the other side. Because it's so hard to micro select, move down, attack, micro, where you could be just finishing this whole army off right now. Now it's finally coming down on the other side. And this is this whole Terran, I'm too cocky, I'm too far ahead, you'll never kill me mentality. This is how it ends. In a sad, terrible way. I think he did feedback like 8 times on 2 medevacs there. Because there's a bunch still with energy that he didn't hit. Actually would have been enough energy for full kills as well. So Bloop did manage to save most of his army out of that actually. But I just don't think... Nice EMPs into there. We'll go back up to regular speed now. That was just glorious. So glorious. fantastic. So this is what I'm talking about. If you've got this opportunity, just go for the attack, go for the kill. Sometimes playing too safe doesn't help you. It doesn't do you any favors. Do like the Archons mixed in here with all the High Templars they've done. He actually doesn't have any anti-air other than these, so he can't actually shoot down all these medevacs everywhere. Yeah, that's what you get when you're just a cocky, crappy... Well, I can't even say crappy. That Blup was a pretty good Terran player. He had a lot of things going, but he's sitting there with a maxed army outside of the opponent's base, not looking at what's going on. Really? Absolutely really. You weren't even paying attention to what the hell was happening to you. X, yeah. That's really funny. And I don't know the Terran can be really upset about that. Yeah, you had a great lead, and you let it all go because you just really didn't... You couldn't figure out how to end the game. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, Gonzy's got it. Like, okay, I've got that lead, I've got that opportunity. Now I've got to go capitalize. I've got to go kill the production. I have got to go and get an overwhelming lead because there's too much economy and production for my opponent. Why sit back and wait? This is senseless. I wonder if this is just like a generic global statement, like violence is senseless, like one of those can't we all just kind of get along statements, you know? You know, we just fight each other all the time. This is senseless. Maybe why don't we just call it a draw right now and decide that, you know, we just want to be friends. Yeah. This is pretty awesome. I agree with you, Gonzy. You should have made a penis face actually at the end of there. I bet he's just like laughing his ass off. I'm surprised that's not actually bleeped out. I always get bleeped out when that stuff happens. Bloop. Leave my game. Yeah, it's like Gonzy's like, you know what, I'm just having fun. It's a good game, right guys? Oh, fuck you. Oh, well now we can't be friends anymore, I guess. And the Terran's probably just like sitting back and thinking about where things went wrong in life. Probably could have left a while ago, but it's gonna make the Protoss player finish it out. So we're just gonna speed it up. Cool. Yeah. You just gotta know when to put throttle. Look at this bank for the Terran player too. You just gotta know when to put the throttle on and finish things off. Right? You've got a maxed out army against this, like a toasted opponent. Learn how to better deal with that. Mana storms. This is where you should make like tempests to win. Or make 200 probes and go win. Just something like that, right? When you've got this opportunity, you've got to find a dick way to do stuff. I usually make nukes or battle cruisers. Back in the day, you used to make scouts in Brood War. GGGGGGGG. Storm Circle. And obviously, Terran player is just going to be a dick as long as possible. A couple of starports go down because it gets revealed. He's going to see where it's at. And it leaves the game. Interesting game by Gonzy. I actually wasn't too sure. Oh, he does have one unit left. I wasn't too sure how this game was going to go many times. Like, it could have gone both ways a lot of the time. The Terran should have been able to win that. So I put a great game by Gonzy, but I also put a lot of fault on Blup for just not really being able to seal the deal. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. Gonzy, thank you very much for sending me your replay. I hope to be able to cast some more of yours here in the near future.